there, and welcome back to Weird Soda for Life. Today I have a soda that we're gonna surreptitiously try. Ah, ah, you get it. Anyway, welcome back. Today we are trying a Canadian maple syrup soda. Not really a brand, just nondescript. Um, it's from Rocket Fizz. So it's definitely one of those ones that they made just because they thought somebody out there would want to try it. And guess what? That fool was me. Uh, Before we get into a little bit, I realized, when you see stuff like that, I know I talked a little bit about trying the Pepsi IHOP collabo last year, which very much tasted like somebody dropped a shot of maple syrup in a Pepsi. Um, I realized though as I was thinking about like what to talk about before this, because again we've talked about Rocket Fizz and this label's doing us no favors. Uh, I was like, well, what do I even know about maple syrup? And it turns out not a whole lot. I did know there was things called sugar shacks, not what you think, but other than that, I didn't really know a lot, and I didn't even know a lot about maple syrup specifically for Canada. So I did a little digging. Long story short, this is yet another thing that we took from the native population, the Aboriginal population of Canada. Uh, uh, I would jokingly say that the Aboriginal people probably showed it to their aggressive French neighbors. I'm using neighbors very loosely because colonizers just doesn't have the same ring to it, but we do know by the 1540s that Western world had been introduced to the concept of syrup. Jacques Cartier, who was a very famous French explorer, was writing and talking about syrup and how great it was and how much like a wine it was. And I've never had a wine that I've equated to maple syrup, and that sounds disgusting. um, but by the 1700s, maple syrup is all the rage in France, kind of like the pumpkin pie thing we talked about a couple weeks ago. I didn't find any evidence that they ruined maple syrup in the same way they tried to ruin pumpkin pies, but I wouldn't put it past the French, so I said what I said. But anyway, back in the Americas, maple syrup, especially in Canada, is actually seen as the main sugar sweetener up until like the late 1800s, around 1875, actually. And when I think about that, and when we think about all the things that we have sugar in, thinking about it all with a weird maple twinge is interesting to me and a little disgusting. And I like maple syrup. I mean, I've drank things on the channel with foods I didn't think I'd like, but I like maple syrup. Um, but it does seem a little odd. But by 1875, cane sugar comes on the scene, and then maple syrup gets superseded. I will say Canada's role in the maple syrup industry is not to be ignored. In fact, three-fourths of the world's maple syrup supply comes from Quebec. Like one province supplies three-fourths of the maple syrup for like the entire world. So maple syrup is big business in Canada. With that, let's take a look at the label before we try it. As I noted, this feels very much like help. I need to do something with Canada and syrup, and they went for like the lowest. If I was an art student in an art class, this is a C minus. Like, how boring is this? But it gets the job done, right? It's functional. There's not a lot more to say about it. It's a brown bottle. You can see it is from Rocket Fizz, as I noted before, which is out of Nevada. So I do wonder if they're going to uphold the Canadian maple syrup traditions in a healthy manner. And what also concerns me as I'm looking at this is the irony of there being pure cane sugar in this in the maple syrup. So it's like the betrayal is real. Cane sugar strikes again to take down the maple syrup folks. With that, let's open it up and see what we've got going. No, not like this. Hold on. Okay, not a twist top. I feel vindicated again. But again, I wish they would indicate on the bottle. With that, whoo. Okay, that was very mapley already. I'm a little concerned. Gonna pour a little bit in here. Oh, that's actually lighter than I expected that to be. I expected, with the dark bottle for it to be darker, but this is actually very ginger ale-esque. It's like a very golden uh, soda, kind of champagne-like. So maybe this is what Jacques Cartier was getting at, right? With that, Yeah, yeah, that is heavily maple syrupy. Um, Bottoms up. That's actually quite good. Um, it does taste as if I poured maple syrup into a glass and then diluted it with sparkling water. Um, which, as I say, that doesn't sound that appealing. But yours truly has also done shots of syrup before, so like maybe I'm not the one. Um, Usually, when we discuss these sort of sodas and we talk about the pure cane sugar thing, we talk about how it's overwhelmingly sweet and it kind of overwhelms any sort of weird food thing that it's trying to play with. In this scenario, it works because maple syrup in its own right is so incredibly sweet that when you get this together, it's actually less sweet than I think it would be. Not think it's less sweet than it would have been for me to take a shot of syrup on camera. That actually plays quite well. I'm not sure. It feels again like this would be a good mixer for something. I'm not sure what I would mix syrup with. Kind of makes me wish there was like a pancake soda, but I I ain't mad at it. I would. Well, I was gonna say I would drink this again, and the truth of the matter is I would, but it's it is sweet again. Like we talked about it, and I don't think I would just standardly just drink a maple syrup soda on standard. But it uh, truth is in the labeling. It does taste like maple syrup. I don't feel the urge to start going A or other Canadian stereotypes. So maybe it's not as Canadian as I thought it would be. But yeah, it gets the job done. It tastes like maple syrup. Um, and maybe I could mix it with Pepsi and try to relive the IHOP collaboration from last year. But anyway, if you like syrup, go for it. If you don't, this ain't it. But good on you. So next week I am gonna take the week off. I have some things happening in my own like personal non-soda life that are very exciting. So nothing bad, but because of that, my time is gonna be stretched pretty thin next week, and I'm afraid I won't have time to do a video. But I'll tell you what, I am gonna post a teaser or a little bit, I guess. In 2 weeks, when I return on the 17th, we will be trying a Jones soda, a limited edition new Jones soda flavor. And next week, I'll post a photo of what the flavor is going to be if that doesn't intrigue you. I'm definitely looking forward to trying it. And until next time, drink weird and don't get yourself in a sticky situation with a maple syrup soda. See you next time.